fear the idea of authenticity due to the underlying fact that you have to display your damage in the hopes of being honest with yourself and others. Longing to do something with your grief. Longing to do something with your grief, but struggling to do so because just the idea of revisiting those feelings you've bottled up makes you want to throw up on the spot. Don't get me wrong, I want to do something with my grief. It's just the act of actually doing it is what really gets me. But at the same time, if I don't do anything with it, it's going to engulf me in its cold embrace. I try to keep myself busy in order to distract myself from that heavy feeling that presses against my chest every day. On a daily occurrence, I hyperfixate on a multitude of things. A film that released 15 years ago, a public cheating scandal, a fictional character to overanalyze, but especially a pointless new crush. By putting a piece of my focus onto something trivial like a boy I'm infatuated with, it branches off into multiple activities. Making sure my eyeliner is done perfectly on the days that I know I will see them for sure. Getting an extensive evaluation about a 2-word interaction at 3 in the morning with my friends. Changing my daily route to class from time to time just to get a possible glance at them. It's like a cute little distraction. But it doesn't exactly bode well when every guy you're attracted to is incredibly out of reach. When that reality hits, the grief just pulls me right back in, reminding me that it never really left. I have to keep myself busy as much as possible, or else my days end up bleeding together. If I'm not working on assignments, if I'm not working on film sets, if I'm not spending time with my friends, if I'm not hyperfixating on a film, if I'm not singing in my free time, well, my life ends up feeling like this never-ending playlist on shuffle, cycling through the same 7 songs over and over again. Hours could pass and I could still be in the exact same spot in my dorm room, rotting as my grief eats away at me, mocking me really. And I wouldn't necessarily be doing anything useful with this time wasted. Most times I could be actively aware that I'm in this frozen state of nothingness, but I usually don't have the effort or motivation to actually change the situation to work in my advantage. Once I get over this period of complete procrastination, I end up disappointing myself later on, even though I knew I was actively going out of my way to do nothing. And when it comes to going to sleep, God, sleep? The chance to be unconscious for at least 6 hours where I don't have to actively think about my feelings? Say less. That's actually why waking up every day feels like a huge accomplishment for me. I give myself so much praise when I get ready early for class to look presentable in order to uphold this image that I've created. Really and truly, if I don't have an excuse to dress up and go anywhere, I'll take the easy route and rot in my bed. But I always make sure that I hold on to this persona that I've made whenever I actually go out into the world. Sure, I've kind of ruined that with this video, but if I can treat going outside like it's a mini fashion show, that's good enough to motivate me to push myself out of bed. But then there's the pushing people away. Pushing away the people that actually care about you. I get this overwhelming feeling of dread that I think will last forever sometimes. And usually when I'm hit with that feeling, I tend to isolate myself in the hopes that it doesn't spread onto those closest to me. But this ends up backfiring on me anyways, despite my best efforts. Because of how often I conceal my misery and anguish, I end up lashing out. At times I find myself being unnecessarily snippy over the phone with my mom when she asks me something as simple as, "How's your day today?" I don't want to be rude to my mom, but why am I responding with such insincerity to the one person I can count on for anything? Why am I being flat out rude to the woman who gives me nothing but love and support? I hate how drastic my moods have become in the past few months. I've always been an emotional person, but lately I've just been feeling unstable with the way I let my emotions control me. With grief in particular, grief is weird. I can be completely normal 1 second doing my nails or something, but then on the one hand, on a random Tuesday at 3 p.m., I'm right back in that heart-shattering affliction. It's like I'm back in that moment watching everything play out in my head like a film I never wanted to see in the first place. Then 2 minutes pass and it's like it never even happened. and I just keep going on with my day as if it's not taking up what's left of my mental capacity. I feel so pathetic at times trying to process my grief while there are such bigger issues going on in the world. A literal genocide is occurring and I'm just over here wallowing about how sad I am. It feels awful. Selfish even. I hate how difficult it feels to go through my grief while the world is still moving around me, where I can't fully interact with it the way that I need and want to. Abby, I miss you more than any kind of words can express. Being your best friend has been the utmost privilege, but sometimes I really miss the person I used to be too. At times I fear this baggage I carry now will destroy me, and I won't always have the strength to carry it. But I want to continue to carry this weight, this grief, even if my motivation fluctuates every day. But once I manage to have a steady hold onto my grief, I get scared thinking about what I'm actually supposed to do with it. What are you supposed to do with this grief that's had such a tight grip onto your soul? I mean, you can't just let it grow and manifest itself into becoming something horrific. But then again, I have to ask for the umpteenth time, what are you supposed to do with it? Sure, you can turn it into something beautiful, you can make art out of it, but I find myself dreading the idea of processing these emotions without the notion that I know it will suffocate me. The act of doing something with my grief just pains me to think about. I mean, even admitting something like this to people I've never met over the internet of all places feels deranged. Sitting down and actually writing all of this out for the past month has brought me nothing but excruciating pain that I haven't faced in so long. I just can't believe it's come to a point where I've created a video sharing such explicit details of my grief for any and anybody to know about. It feels demented, to say the least. And yet somehow it's the only thing I'm really gravitating towards. I don't know if this counts as doing something with my grief, truly. I don't even know what this fully is, but it feels fulfilling in a way to do this rather than lie on my floor staring at my ceiling fan for hours. With the time it's taken me to write this, I don't believe the process of grief is this stereotypical list that everyone faces. To categorize something as delicate as this into some 5-step process feels so wrong and trivial to me now. Sure, I've accepted your death, but that doesn't mean I'll ever be able to fully or ever accept the grief that comes with it without letting it ruin me. I long to do something with my grief, even if it's going to cause me inescapable suffering. But this is gonna have to work for now. I mean, if you really think about it, grief is just love with nowhere to go.